Hey everyone, welcome to Makko AI. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the entire creation pipeline, all the way from concept art to a fully playable game scene. The goal is to show you what Makko can do end to end and how these tools all work together so you can build a game faster than you've ever imagined. By the end of this tutorial, you have seen every major part of the platform: character creation, animation generation, sprite sheets, the Agentic AI chat that ties it all together. So let's jump in. If you haven't yet, make sure you create an account or sign in. Once you do so, let's go to Open Studio, Sprite Studio, create character, and then start creating your character right here. As you can see here, you can have a couple things that you're going to be putting in: the character name and the description or prompt. For this example, we're going to be creating an endless runner. So I want to go ahead and create a running character. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this the super cool runner, because my guy is super cool. Now for the description, as you can see here, the example that we have is a brave knight in shining armor with a sword and shield. We want to be as descriptive as possible, giving the AI as much information as it can to make sure that it gets the outcome that we're looking for. So for this, we're going to go ahead and do a track runner with red clothes and the black shoes and a headband. Next, you can go ahead and select the art style, and as you can see here, we have a lot of different art styles to choose from. For this example, we're going to go ahead and choose animate character because I think it fits the style that I'm looking for. Hit generate character concepts, and once they show up, from here you'll be able to choose your favorite concept. This will be what's called your reference sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this one right here because I think it looks the most what I was looking for. Then you're going to hit generate reference sheet. Alright, once you generate the reference sheet, then you will have three different pictures. You will have a front image, a side image, and a back image. You want to ensure that all these look right to you, because this is how the AI will know how to make the animations properly, and you'll be able to see all the different sides of your character. If this looks right to you, go ahead and save character. If you see any sort of issues, go ahead and hit the generate reference sheet again to rerun it and see if it looks better to you. It looks all fine to me, so I'm going to go ahead and hit save character. Now here we're in the animation area. As you can see here, our reference images are right here. In order to create an animation now, I will just hit create animation and then start creating an animation. The first animation we want to do is obviously a running animation, since this is going to be an endless runner. So run animation, we're going to have the side view, running from left to right. I always leave the background the same and I keep it simple. I'm going to go ahead and hit generate animation, and this right here is going to start creating our first animation. So now we can either wait for the animation to finish, or we can go ahead and start generating a second animation. For this game, I think we're going to use a couple of animations. We're going to have a running animation, a jogging animation, and a sliding animation. So let's go ahead and start making some of those. Jog, side view, jogging from left to right. Same thing, we're going to leave the background the same, simple, and hit generate animation. We're also going to be adding a jumping animation, side view, jumping left to right. As you can see here, you are able to make as many animations as you want, and each animation is going to be added to what's called a character manifest. This character manifest is going to have all the animations of your character all in one place. As the animations start to complete, you're able to go ahead and look at the animations and see if they're exactly what you were looking for. Let's go ahead and take a look at the running animation as the other ones go ahead and continue getting finished. As you can see here, we asked for a side view running from left to right. This looks like it's running pretty well. But there are a couple issues here with the animation. We don't want the standing part or the end part. So this is where we can actually start editing the animation ourselves. So in order to do so, we're going to extract the frames here on the bottom left. As those are extracting, we're going to be able to remove some of the frames that we don't want in our animation. All right, once you've extracted the frames, what you're going to want to do is hit the edit button over here. And then this brings up the frame by frame editor. Here you're going to be able to select the frames that you want to keep and the ones that you don't want. As I said before, we don't want to have all these standing frames because this animation, we want the character to already be running. So what I'm going to do is look for the part where the character starts running, and to me it looks like it's frame number 9. I'm going to go ahead and delete all the frames prior to frame number 9. In order to do so, you're going to head and select a frame and hit the delete button right here. Make sure you confirm it, and then delete all the frames that you don't want in your animation. Now you're able to see the animation, and if I hit play, you'll be able to see that those frames were taken off from our animation. And this looks a little bit more natural. It feels like a full loop. So let me go ahead and look at that animation one more time. There is a frame that looks a little bit off to me, and I think that's the last frame at the end here. What I'm going to go ahead and do is select that one, delete it, and remove it from there. Now let's go ahead and watch it back. There you go. That looks a lot more natural and loop-like. We're going to go ahead and exit Studio once you're done editing the frame. And now we're going to be able to go ahead and create a new sprite sheet. To do so, you're going to go ahead and hit New Sheet, name the sheet, and the name that I'm going to go ahead and do is the same thing as the animation name. We're going to call it Run, Layout Automatic. I don't mess with any of these. Just leave all those things there. And then go ahead and generate and bake sprite sheet. Once you've done that, you can go ahead and look at your sprite sheet to see the individual frames all clipped together. Exit out of that and then go back. And now that animation is ready to be put into the character manifest. But before we do that, we must go ahead and do the same thing for all the other animations. So let's go ahead and take a look at the jogging animation. So for this one, this actually looks like she's running faster than the running animation. So we don't want to go ahead and keep this one. We're going to go ahead and delete this animation because it doesn't fit the look that we're going for. And we're going to go ahead and actually create a walking animation so that there's a difference between the walking and the running. And we hope that jogging was going to be that, but it did not come out the way that we wanted to. So we're going to go ahead and create a walking animation. Same thing, animation name in the description, side view, walking left to right. And the walking animation is now complete. And this looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and extract the frames. As this gets processed right here, you'll see that there's a lot more options in terms of the frame rate, the frame size, the detected background color. If you're looking for something specific, you're able to mess around with those settings. For the purposes of this example, we're not going to mess with anything too complex, so you guys are able to see a game being created from start to finish. Nice. Now that the frames are extracted, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. Edit the few ones that we don't want out. And like always, we're going to go ahead and stop and delete the ones that are just of the character standing still. We want to have an exactly full loop. Let's go ahead and look at that. Right, so there was a little glitch there or a little stutter. So we want to go ahead and figure out whether we need to just delete some stuff from the top or from the end. It looks like it's going to make more sense from the end if we delete these three. I'm going to delete those. Delete. Delete. And delete. Let's look at the loop again. And look at that, a lot more natural. Again, once we do that, we're going to go ahead and exit the studio and now create a new sprite sheet. Call it walk. Leave everything else the same for the purposes of this example. Big sprite sheet. And now we have another sprite sheet. So that is 2 animations down. Look at the jump. There you go. All right, the jump does have a little bit of things that we need to fix at the end, but it does have enough frames from what I can tell to be able to create the animation that we were looking for. So we're going to go ahead and extract the frames. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and edit those extracted frames and take out all the frames that we don't want. So as you guys saw, we don't want a lot of those frames near the end. So we're going to go ahead and delete all of those. And it looks like it starts around frame 34. So we're going to go ahead from frame 34. We're going to go ahead and start deleting stuff. Okay, and then at the start, it looks like she's falling to the ground first. So let's go ahead and find out where she actually touches the ground. Starts getting ready to jump again. Looks like right there. So we're going to go ahead and delete the first 6 frames. There you go. And let's go ahead and see how that looks. She jumps up, comes down, jumps up, comes down, Let's go ahead and see there's a little stutter there on the animation. So let's see if we can go ahead and clean that up by removing 1 or 2 more frames. See if we can delete these 2 frames to make it look cleaner. And jump up, down, jump up, down, and that looks a lot cleaner. Now we're gonna go ahead and exit Studio, and as before, create new sheet, call it jump, keep everything else the same for the purpose of this video, make sprite sheet, and now we have a third animation. Show you guys exactly what that will look like. We're gonna have a walking animation, a running animation, and a jumping animation. Now that we have all those 3 ready, we're gonna go ahead and create our first character manifest. Call this player core. Keep it very simple. As you can see, the full name will be the super cool runner underscore player core. So we want to not name it the same thing as the character itself. And then here it allows you to select all the sprite sheets that you currently have. Because we went ahead and deleted all the animations that we didn't like ourselves, it's going to be very easy. We're just going to select all of them and then create manifest. And boom, just like that, we have created our first character manifest. We have gone from 0 to a full character manifest in the span of a few minutes. Now that we have this, we're actually going to go ahead and start creating our first game. To do so, let's jump into projects. Now create a new project, call it our first endless runner. Description, you can leave that blank for now. Create a GitHub repository if you have GitHub connected. Go ahead and do that. If you don't have it, you don't need it right now, but we can go ahead and create our first project. And look at that, our first endless runner. Now that that's been created, let's go ahead and open up our first project, and this opens up AI Studio. As you can see here, you're automatically entered into the Agentic chat, and it allows you to start creating your first game. As you can see here, we have 2 different modes, fast mode or plan mode. Because we're barely starting our game, we're going to be using the plan mode to ensure that we can go ahead and get everything of our foundation started. Let's go ahead and tell Makko AI exactly what we want to create. Create an endless runner where our character can walk, jump, and run until the end of time. Let's go ahead and give it a little bit more description in terms of the kind of background that we're looking for. The character running track with a clear blue sky. Start workflow. And now here you can see we have a new request. This is a request that we asked it. And now before planning, we got to think through, how does this fit into the existing code base? What existing systems or files will be affected? What patterns should be followed? Are there any potential edge cases or challenges? Then create a comprehensive implementation plan based on your analysis. As you can see, Makko AI is thinking through everything right now. Right, and as you can tell, Makko AI realizes that this is a brand new project. So it tells us, since this is an empty project, I'm in bootstrap mode. I'll create an endless runner from scratch using basic shapes for the character and environment. Before I create the plan, I need to clarify a few gameplay details. So it's going to ask us clarifying questions. 1. Character style. Since there's no sprite sheets or sprite assets available, would you like me to create a simple geometric character, or should I plan for a placeholder system that can easily be swapped for sprites later? So in order to go ahead and fill this out, we're just going to type out 1 and start answering the questions that Makko is asking us. Yes, use a placeholder system because we already have a character and a manifest that we want to use. This lets us know that, hey, yes, we do have a character and a manifest already ready for you. Just use a placeholder system for now, right? Number 2, what's it asking us? Obstacles. What kind of obstacles should the character avoid? Example, static obstacles, rocks or barriers, moving obstacles like birds or rolling objects, or ground variations like gaps to jump over. For now, let's go ahead and keep it simple, and there are 2 things that I want to be able to do. I want to jump over rocks and I want to jump over holes. So let's go ahead and tell it that. All right, there you go. The obstacles for now will be rocks and holes on the ground, both obstacles that the player must jump over in order to survive. All right, question number 3. Controls. What input method do you prefer? Keyboard, space for jump, shift for run boost, mouse, touch, tap and click, or both? Because we're right now on browser, the most simple way to do it is through keyboard. So let's go ahead and give it the inputs that we want to use. All right, keyboard, spacebar for jump, shift to go from walk to run. All right, question number 4. Difficulty progression. How should the game get harder over time? Speed increases gradually, more frequent obstacles, combination of both. I like the combination of both. We're going to go ahead and tell a combination of both. Number 5, scoring. What should give points? Distance traveled, obstacles avoided, coins or collectibles gathered. For now, let's not go ahead and introduce the coins or collectibles gathered. Let's go ahead and just use distance traveled plus obstacles. All right, now it says these details will help me create the most appropriate endless runner experience for you. As you could tell, we gave it all the answers that we needed, and now that we have all that, let's go ahead and press enter, and then it'll start creating the game that we're looking for. And look at that, you can tell that Makko understood exactly what we're talking about, because it tells us your endless runner game. You'll have a character that runs along a track under a blue sky, jumping over rocks and holes to survive. All right, now that you gave it all the steps and all the information that Makko needed, this is a proposed plan. Now we can go ahead and overview the plan and see if this is exactly what we're looking for. If not, we can go ahead and reject it. So let's go ahead and read through it. The proposed plan is pending our approval. Review the AI's proposed strategy before execution. What is going to be the goal of this? Create an endless runner with a character that can walk, jump, and run, avoiding rocks and holes while scoring points based on distance and obstacles avoided. That sounds exactly like what we told it to do. The approach, as you can see, this is going to be the approach that the Makko is going to take, and for me, that looks pretty good. The execution task, this is going to be the important stuff, the task that it's going to do one by one. All right, once you give all those execution tasks a read, and if everything looks good, let's go ahead and approve the plan. And just like that, after a few minutes of thinking and implementing, the game is ready to be seen. Let's go ahead and hit approve to make sure that everything goes well. Once it's done with a step, make sure you read through all of these things to make sure that it implemented the step completely and the way that you expected it to. If it does look right, hit approve to finalize the step, and then we move on to the next step. It's going to do this every single time for steps 1 through 8. And make sure you just read through it, approve it, and then move on to the next step. With every step, you're going to be able to see a couple things. You're going to be able to see the task that it's trying to accomplish, the objective that it's trying to accomplish, and then also the things that it's thinking through. All right, and just like that, after a few minutes, the workflow has been complete. All the tasks have been completed successfully, and now it tells us what is next. Do we need a few minor fixes or debugging, or do we start fresh if we didn't like the game that it came out? For the moment we've all been waiting for, we're going to go to preview, rebuild, and then press play. As you can see here, we had a couple of runtime errors, but don't worry, we can go ahead and easily fix them. We have a fix all button here. Click that, and then Makko will start fixing the errors that we have. Right, and just like before, Makko presents you with a goal, an approach, and the steps that it's going to take to fix the runtime errors. Read through it, make sure that it makes sense to you, and if you like the plan, hit approve plan, and just like before, we're going to be running through the steps. If you want to speed up some of this process, you can also enable auto approve. It just allows Makko AI to go ahead and continue step by step auto approving along the way. All right, and just like that, it has gone through and made the changes. Let's go ahead and stop the build, hit rebuild, press play, and look at that. Have a working game. We have a couple of runtime errors that we'll look at right now, but let's see if we can get started and play the game. You can see here, endless runner, run, jump, and avoid obstacles in this endless adventure. The controls, we move left to right, space is jump, shift is run, and shift F is full screen. Let's go ahead and make this a little wider. Press start game. We're going to try to fix these issues. And just like that, we have a working game. As you can see, we have the rocks and we have the holes that we asked it to put. And if we hit shift, we go a little bit faster. Hole and a rock. I don't know if I'm able to make that, and I have lost, but I got a new high score. Distance traveled, time survived, obstacles avoided, Perfect run, no. High score, before was 236. Now we're gonna go ahead and try to implement the animations that we created earlier in this video. To do so, you're gonna go straight up here to quick actions. We're gonna add character. It says there's no character manifest found in this project. No problem. Open asset library and select the animation that we wanna add. So as you can see here, the super cool runner, we're gonna hit these 3 buttons, click add to project, and now our character has been added. So now if we go back to the top here, add character, it's gonna ask us to select the character. The super cool runner player core is the player manifest that we had created earlier, and then generate prompt. Right, the integration has been completed. We're gonna go ahead and rebuild the build. Start game, and look at that. We have our character in game. If we hit Shift F, you see a walking, jumping, and I'm not very good at the game. We're gonna go ahead and play again. Shift F. You see our jumping animation, our walking animation. The one thing I don't see here is the running animation. So we're gonna go ahead and try to debug that real quick, just by telling Makko AI what the issue is and what we expect it to happen for it to try to figure out the problem and solve it. Right, the shift button is not activating the run animation. Ensure that when a player presses shift, the character starts running and therefore also moving faster in the game. Give Makko that and let it run through that. Rebuild the game, start game, make it full screen, and let's see. Look at that, we have our running animation. You can run backwards, forwards, walk, and jump. And just like that, in a few simple steps, we went from idea to fully working game. That is the power of Makko AI, and that's the full Makko workflow. You've seen how to create characters, generate animations, make sprite sheets, and finally build a working game scene entirely through natural language with Makko's Agentic AI. The whole platform is designed to let you think creatively instead of technically and turn your ideas into playable results as fast as possible. Thanks for watching this walkthrough. If you want to go deeper, watch a few of our other tutorials for more advanced techniques. And if you're ready to build your first full project, Makko AI is here to help you every step of the way.